Hello and welcome to our review of Veronica Mars. I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.
And this week we are discussing the episode Keep Calm and Party On. As with all the episodes in Season 4, this originally aired on July 19th, 2019. Alright, Veronica and Logan go down to the bar to get some security footage, which Veronica needs in her bomb investigation, and to help Dick Casablancas, who, well, he needs pants. They have a few drinks and take E with the bar owner. Veronica wakes up the next morning with a massive hangover. Maddie Ross approaches Veronica for help. Veronica takes her on a stakeout to track down the mole man at the vending machine company. They sit outside, see him, and they manage to take photos of him. Veronica sends the information to her dad, who figures out that his name is Perry Walsh. Perry had a history of violence and was in jail with Big Dick and Clyde Pickett at Chino Prison. Keith reported the information to the police. Meanwhile, Veronica continues her investigation into the Maloofs. Daniel Maloof admits that he was being blackmailed. He was caught masturbating on video, and the blackmailer has threatened to release the video if he doesn't vote as the blackmailer tells him. He believes the blackmailer has something to do with the bombing, which is why he hired Veronica to investigate in the first place. Logan is hired as Daniel Maloof's bodyguard. He leaves after protecting him all day. When Daniel leaves the hotel, which Logan advised strongly against, to get something, Tawny Carr's brothers kidnap him and beat him up. The cartel guys, Dottie and Alonzo, see him getting beat up and go to save him. Instead, they drive him off, or they plan to kill him. Daniel realizes what they're going to do and offers them money for not killing him. They say that's impossible, because their boss made it clear that they need to kill the bomber. But fortunately, on the news, it is announced that the real bomber, Perry Walsh, has been found. The police sent a SWAT team to track down Perry Walsh. He blew himself up with a bomb of his own making. The police declared it a victory and marked him as the bomber. They found a crazy manifesto in his freezer, which added further evidence that he was the bomber. The police announced it on the news and did not credit the tip to Mars investigations. Once Daniel Maloof and the cartel guys heard the news, they debated whether or not to kill him after all. Daniel offers $100,000 if they kill Tawny's two brothers and spare his life. They agree and let him go. He went back to the hotel and didn't tell anyone what happened. Keith Mars accepts Clyde's request for an investigation to find a woman that he lost contact with. He does this intending to find out more about Clyde and his involvement in Chino Prison with Perry Walsh and Big Dick. He doesn't find much. He concludes that Clyde is a nice enough guy despite his criminal background. Veronica and Keith debated over whether or not Perry Walsh was the real bomber. Keith wanted to accept that he was the bomber because he thinks that he and Veronica constantly doubt everything and they just need to accept it as a win. They tell the Maloofs that it's over and the bomber is caught. Alex Maloof asks if they really believe that Perry Walsh is the real bomber. Keith says yes, and Veronica says no. Veronica attends a volleyball game where Logan and Dick are playing. Then a second bomb goes off on the beach, and Veronica asks herself, why do I always have to be right? So, what do we think of this episode, Mr. David?
What was interesting with this one, kind of with the case of the series kind of taking a little bit more of a adult spin to most of the things. The start of this episode kind of having Veronica going out and still partying and whatnot had the sense of hooray, she supposedly didn't change, but also the case of consequences of going out and partying at that age with stuff. Just, ugh.
Yes, we see Veronica. Veronica seems to be more affected by it than Logan, but she is definitely very hungover in the next morning.
And it kind of had an interesting balance within the episode of meshing with a couple of ideas that they've been working with and playing around with. The case of them kind of discussing with the secondary group of amateur detectives trying to sort of work on figuring out the case with things. Just interesting, but also the case of it will most likely probably cause problems, despite the fact that again, the name escapes me, but who plays that character is just marvelous with his interactions and trying to work in the situation with not everything exactly going to plan when they meet up at their meetings.
Yes, so you're referring to Patton Oswalt as Penn, Yeah, Patton Oswalt is great
Yes.
in pretty much everything. Yes. So, this episode kind of, there's some important stuff in it, but it's not super important. Other than we find out, obviously, at the end of the episode that whoever our bomber is, it definitely wasn't Perry Walsh because obviously another bomb goes off. And
Yeah.
we find out that what's his name now? Daniel is being blackmailed by someone who is wants him to stay in politics so that they can control how he votes on bills and such.
Yes, very much so.
Yes. So, if there's nothing else about this episode, next week we'll be discussing Heads You Lose. So, convinced the bomber is still at large, Veronica visits Chino to learn more about Clyde and Big Dick. Mayor Dobbins' request for help from the FBI brings an interesting person back to Neptune, and Veronica gets to confront a mugger. There's going to be some returning cast in the next episode.
Interesting. And kind of the immediate thought with the last little comment is, in certain cases, I should probably be sad for the mugger messing with Veronica, but also, mugging is just not a good sort of idea, especially when it's trying to mug Veronica Mars.
Yes. Yeah. So, until next time, I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.